Let me tell you, today's video was a real doozy to make, and it kind of blindsided me because it was a really simple idea that was supposed to be easy to execute, and it just kind of led to me accidentally setting fire to my testbed. This video is definitely gonna trigger some Garys. Gary. Today's video idea was actually pitched by a Discord member who said, wouldn't it be interesting to see what effect power limit has on the performance of a graphics card? And it would be really easy to test because you just run your favorite benchmark and gradually lower the power limit and see what effect it has on the performance. Now, I was excited about this video idea because I thought it was simple enough that not even I could screw it up. Well, joke's on me, apparently. But yeah, how I went about it was I grabbed my trusty new Galax RTX 2070 Super What the Frames edition. Just on a quick side note, I've been playing around with the RGB implementation on this graphics card, and the software that comes with it has like a bunch of presets that you can customize over various RGB zones. But all you need to know is one of those presets is called Black Hole. So you can set the space graphics card in your PC to the black hole lighting effect. Honestly, it doesn't even matter if it looks cool at this point, you're only ever gonna have it on that setting because that's amazing. Yeah, sorry, I got a bit sidetracked there. But anyway, I decided to use my Battlefield 5 in-game benchmark because it's my actual gameplay benchmark that's the most repeatable in my opinion. So I ran 3 runs in a row to show just how repeatable it is at 100% power limit on MSI Afterburner. So that was kind of the baseline. And then I took it up to 111%, which is the highest that you can take it on this Galax card. And yeah, well, the performance didn't change. So then I started gradually lowering it, 90, nothing changed, 80%, nothing changed, 70%. It started getting a bit weird. The core frequency started dropping as well, but not significantly. I couldn't feel a difference. And then at 60%, it dropped quite a lot more. So it was starting to get interesting. But then we reached the limit of what the BIOS in the card allows. I can't drop it below 58% on the Galax card because why would anyone want to do that? The thing is, I didn't just want to stop here because that would be super lazy, and this is just where the results are starting to get interesting. I want to run a graphics card at like 0.1% power limit and see what that does, you know, just out of interest's sake, but unfortunately I couldn't do it with this graphics card, and the BIOSes on most modern graphics cards are locked down, so I can't really change anything about it. But then I remembered I've done some Polaris graphics card BIOS editing before, and that's quite easy to do, and there's a bunch of software for that. So I took out my RX 570 and saved its BIOS with GPU-Z and then did some BIOS editing. And in the process of doing that, I actually had to use my RX 560 Corn graphics card as a display output so that I could flash a new BIOS onto the RX 570. And in that process, my PC started acting really weirdly. It would only output a graphics signal over the RX 560. No other graphics card, even though the other graphics card worked in other test systems. So I thought this was weird and I spent a couple hours playing around with it. And then eventually I got to the point where I cleared the CMOS of the motherboard to see if that would do anything. And then I switched it on and there was a puff of blue smoke and that lovely smell of burnt cabbage, and yeah, the motherboard died. Luckily, the graphics card that was in the system, which is my GTX 1080, is fine. It survived it. I'm not that sure about the 9700K in there. Now, I'm not 100% sure what killed the test system, but I think it may be my just blatant negligence around static in this house. Because it's a very dry period at the moment in Vancouver, and I remember last year, this time, I set fire to a Quadro graphics card accidentally. So yeah, I may need to get an anti-static bracelet like some massive nerd. Luckily, I was able to establish before the PC caught on fire that editing the BIOS on the RX 570 didn't work. Basically, it meant that the graphics card wasn't outputting any kind of signals to MSI Afterburner, and it kind of didn't recognize the graphics card anymore. So this meant I was quickly running out of ideas for how to get this working. I mean, I did think of contacting like an AIB partner and asking them to make me a special BIOS, which I may still do at some point. I'll see how possible that is. But I ended up just going through the graphics cards that I have and seeing which one has the lowest available power limit. And it was actually my Palette GTX 1080, which can go down all the way to 45%. That isn't really the 0.1% power limit I wanted, but I guess we have to make do. So then, with the light at the end of the tunnel of the video idea that's been ruining the last 24 hours of my life, I put my GTX 1080 in my editing PC, which then straight up refused to run Battlefield 5 because apparently I've logged into too many PCs with it, so it can't handle that many new partners. So that meant that I had to use Assassin's Creed's baked-in benchmark. It's not an actual gameplay benchmark, but it is very consistent. I tested for consistency again. And then weirdly enough, lowering the power limit on the GTX 1080 didn't do much. All the way down to 60%, it basically had no effect on the performance at all. And then I just said, screw it, let me go straight to 45% and see what happens. And at that point, it started dropping a lot. The power usage of the card actually went down from about 140 watts to about 91 watts, and the core clock also dropped quite a lot, although it was still above the base frequency of the card, which is quite interesting. The same thing was the case with the RTX 2070 Super as well. We still maintained above base frequency clock speeds, even with the lower power limit. Yeah, so basically XPS 0, to answer the question of what does lowering the power limit of a graphics card do, it ruins Dawid's life. That's kind of the point there. But anyway, I may reach out to an add-in board card partner to see if they can make me a special BIOS that would allow me to get the graphics card down to 0.1% power limit. I think that would be really interesting, but if that doesn't happen, then it doesn't happen. Yeah, I really want to see now, though. I'm so interested now. So with that, thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, subscribe to this channel and my gaming channel, which I'll have linked in the description below. Check out my stream later today and social media and all of that. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.